Hello friends, Lee here from TableTop Bong. In this video, we're going to do a comparison between the Arizer Air Max and the original Storz & Bickel Mighty. And as you can tell, it just preheated by the vibrate. So we're going to talk about a few things to get to know the personality of each one of these vaporizers and how they compare to one another. So if you're looking for a new vaporizer and you're not sure which way to go, hopefully this video is going to help you get a really good idea of what to expect with these vaporizers. I spend a lot of time as a bong manufacturer. At TableTop Bong, we manufacture the world's coolest bong specifically for vaping. So that leaves me in a very fortunate position of testing vaporizer after vaporizer, really getting to know it and learning how to integrate it with water filtration. So I've spent a fair bit of time with both of these vaporizers because, of course, they're both top-notch and really well respected companies, and they're known for top quality products. So in this video, we're going to spend some time, we'll talk about the battery and the charging capacity. We'll talk about the cooling so that you can understand exactly what to expect as far as the cooling of the vapor. We'll talk about the heat up time. We'll talk about the vapor quality as far as how does each one of these extract, what can you expect from that, and vapor flavor, and of course, vapor production. And while I'm talking to you about each one of these components, of course, I've got them preheated and preloaded, so I might as well be having a little vape while I'm talking about the vaporizers. So I've preloaded and preheated both of these to 400 degrees, and I'm just going to go ahead and sip away on them while we're talking about them, and you can see the vapor production, you know, even without running them through water. So, okay, let's talk about the batteries in these. Both of them great batteries, but if I was to score them out of 10, I would give the Mighty an 8 out of 10. It has 90 plus minutes of runtime. The reason it's an 8 out of 10 instead of higher, even with 90 minutes of runtime, is because it has a dedicated charging cord. Whereas the Air Max, you can get 2 hours and 15 minutes out of runtime out of the replaceable 26650 battery, and it's USB-C charged. So if you happen to forget your cord, chances are somebody around you has one, or you know, it's certainly much more convenient if you need to replace a cord in a pinch. If you're traveling and you forgot your cord with your Mighty, that's a bit of a problem. So I give the Arizer Air Max 9.5 for the battery and for the charging, and the Mighty gets an 8 out of 10. Now let's talk about the cooling. These two units, they cool the vapor a little bit differently from one another. The Mighty uses a plastic cooling unit on top of the unit, which when you draw the vapor through, it actually passes back and forth through this cooling unit before you inhale it, which is a really cool way to diffuse and cool it. The Air Max, it's an all-in-one glass that heats the weed and cools the vapor all at the same time when you draw on it. To be completely honest, both of these methods work absolutely fantastic. And that's the point with these quality devices. There are differences, but they both work extremely well. So for cooling, both of these units, absolutely a 9 out of 10. So now let's talk about heat up time. That's another big deal with these vaporizers. The Mighty, from the time you turn it on until you're ready to vape, is close to 2 minutes. With the Air Max, from the time you turn it on until it comes to temperature is 1 minute, but I find it's probably closer to 1.5 minutes by the time you're ready to get some decent draws. Not that big of a difference really if you think about it. Yes, this heats up faster, but when you think about when it's time to use it, then they're pretty close together in, truth be told. It just depends on which way you want to spin that. But from a usability standpoint, it's maybe 30 seconds difference between one to the other of when you can actually get a good rip on it. So, that's negligible. So I'll give, the Arizer Air Max a 9 and the Mighty an 8.5. Now let's talk about vapor quality, being it's extracting, the quality of vapor that is extracted by each one of these devices. You have two very different extraction methods, even though they're both hybrid devices. The Mighty, you have a ceramic oven, and you have some stainless steel, and you have plastic, and all top grade materials, because of course the Mighty is a certified medical device. So that as far as extraction is concerned, they know what they're doing. They've really put the work into it. Arizer Air Max, Arizer's also done their research, and they've gone through different devices to come to a point where they've reached the Air Max. The quality is absolutely fantastic in both of these. The extraction is very, very efficient. Whichever device you look at, I have to give both of these devices a 9 out of 10 for quality of extraction. So now let's talk about flavor. This one is a big one. If you're a flavor chaser and that's your big deal, this is worth paying attention to. The flavor from the Arizer Air Max is very, very different than the flavor from the Mighty. I find the Air Max gives you a much, say, terpier flavor. It's just because it's a glass path extraction versus going through the plastic cooling unit. You definitely get a more pure flavor, in my opinion, but yeah, it's just definitely a little bit more flavorful from the Air Max. They've done the research and they've changed this things, and that's one of the downfalls for the Mighty being a product that's been on the market so long. They haven't had the opportunity to take advantage of remanufacturing like Arizer has. Now, of course, they've released the Mighty Plus, which I know is a big step up, but that's also quite a gap in price to the Arizer Air Max. So I thought this would be the closest comparison, even though the Mighty is coming in $75 to $100, depending on where you are and what your currency is, more expensive than the Air Max. That is something that needs to be taken into account when you really think about it. Now let's talk about vapor production. When it comes right down to it, which device will produce more vapor each time you draw on it? Quite honestly, it's the Mighty. In my experience, the Mighty has a little bit more of an open airflow system, which the Arizer Air Max, they've done a great job in opening up the airflow. It's super well balanced, but you can, per draw, get a little bit more extraction with the Mighty. So it's a bit of a trade-off when you really think about it. Do you want the hardest hitting vape that you can put your hands on that's a portable unit? It might very well be the Mighty. But when it comes to hard hitting, is the Arizer Air Max falling behind? Absolutely not. Both of these devices, if you were to sit down with a gram or two of weed and your goal was to just really medicate, either one of these devices is going to get you to pretty much the exact same place by the end of that session. The session itself will be different. You'll be using a glass air path with the Air Max versus, the tried, tested, and true medical device of the Mighty. Both of them are going to give you a really fantastic experience. When you load the Air Max, you load a little bit less per load into the device. So when you talk about, vapor production, it all balances out in the end based on your consumption. So 1 gram of weed is going to get you X amount of vapor, and it's going to pretty much match out of these two devices over the long haul of, pull versus pull. So is one more efficient than the other in that sense? I don't really think so. I think when it comes to these devices, you're just going to like one or the other more. If you really want to go after the flavor, I'm going to suggest that the Air Max is probably the way to go. If you want the heaviest, hardest hit and thickest clouds, then probably the Mighty is going to be better for you. If you're on the go all the time and you're not home and a dedicated cord is going to be a pain, well, the Air Max has that completely figured out with the fast charge USB-C. Both of them absolutely fantastic devices, and with the price coming down now on the Mighty with the launch of the Mighty Plus, it's bringing it into a little bit more affordable of a zone for the average person, which is absolutely fantastic, because you really, in the long haul, by investing in these devices, and running it through a dedicated water filtration device, you can actually save yourself a bundle of money in the long haul, especially when you're going to really, really high quality vaporizer devices like this, and then coupling with a vape bong like the TableTop Bong, so that you can get the most hits out of each load and enjoy the experience without coughing and in taking in all the flavor. Anyway, I hope somehow this helped you get a better look at these two devices. And I'll let you know that I've also done another video where it's a drag race head-to-head of these two, so you can watch the full vapor production under exact equal circumstances. So you can see exactly which one of what these will do, running them through bongs and putting them really to the test in that video. So I'll put the link in the description for that. Remember, please like and subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you informative videos just like this one. Until next time, take care.